This is TWiT.
You wrote about working with Ray, and you said that people know him, of course. Everybody does know him. He became the CTO at Microsoft, and is known as being this visionary and so forth. But you say people don't know how funny he is.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Bill Gates said Ray Ozzie is one of the 5 best programmers in the world.
Wow.
And
yeah,
coming from Bill Gates, that's very high praise. And he is brilliant. A brilliant programmer, a brilliant architect and visionary. He's a big picture guy. And basically, Microsoft acquired Groove Networks to get Ray Ozzie. Ray Ozzie took over for Bill Gates as chief software architect. That's what allowed Bill Gates to retire from Microsoft.
Do you think that was the plan when Microsoft acquired Groove?
That wasn't what they said, but yeah, that's absolutely what
Bill
it was.
had it in mind. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Bill Gates wanted to retire.
I can't leave unless I have somebody I know and I can trust that's got the brains. And
that's right.
Ray Ozzie makes perfect sense. Yeah, yet I have to ask what happened, because everybody had high hopes and thought, man, this is going to be very exciting. And nothing really happened, it seems like. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. Well, one thing that you can say Ray Ozzie did was Microsoft Azure. So he saw the future. He saw that the cloud was going to be a big thing, and he invented Azure. So he went off and built his own little separate group and had the vision for cloud computing and Azure, and that has Ray Ozzie's fingerprints all over it. He was the architect.
You could argue that's Microsoft's biggest business. Certainly, the cloud is their biggest business these days. But at the time, Steve Ballmer was still running the joint.
Right. So it was a almost impossible situation. You had Bill Gates, the legend, and then you had Steve Ballmer, the CEO and co-legend, and then Ray coming in to try to be the chief software architect and visionary and move the company forward in many different directions. He certainly had the brain power and the vision and the gravitas to do that. But coming into Microsoft, where there were billionaire, brilliant business leaders in each of those segments, like Microsoft Office or SQL Server or Windows Server, these groups were gigantic multi-billion-dollar businesses on their own. So having someone come in from the outside and try to manage that and be the visionary for it was a nearly impossible job.
Yeah, and again, you were on the inside. We were all, as a tech journalist on the outside, but it did look as if, in fact, I know you've seen the famous cartoon, which I have hanging on my wall at home. The artist sent it to me, of all the guns, the org charts for all the different companies, and Microsoft, it's every group pointing guns at each other. It was, at that time, and I think a lot of credit to Satya Nadella, he seems to have reinvented it, but at that time, a very political organization.
Incredibly political and very powerful people. And that's just not Ray. He's not a political guy. He's not a sort of organizational guy that wants to build the big fiefdom and be a corporate guy. That's not who he is. He is a visionary, a brilliant computer scientist. He can see the future, but putting him in the Microsoft environment was a real challenge.
Here's the famous org chart. Amazon looking pretty hierarchical. Google looking like a cat's cradle. Everybody reporting to everybody else. Facebook even more of a network. And then, of course, Microsoft with different divisions, each pointing guns at one another. Actually, I like the last two, which is Apple, one person in the middle, everybody else revolving around that, and Oracle, which has a normal org chart, but it's tiny compared to the giant org chart for legal. I love having this, and I think I can't remember, is it Ray Avila who drew it? I have to thank the original artist, Joey Davila, that's right, who drew it, because it is very, very funny, and there's the There's the Microsoft piece of it. That hurt Microsoft. I think it was one of the things that held Microsoft back for a long time.